All right, so today we're going to be diving into something that's going on in U.S. politics right now, and that is this kind of contradiction between the White House and the Defense Department when it comes to diversity and inclusion. Essentially, we have the White House saying, okay, you know, it's Black History Month, let's celebrate. Well, at the same time, the Defense Department is saying identity months are dead. So how can these...
It's a very strange situation, for
sure. Two positions exist at the same time? What does this tell us about what's going on right now? So let's unpack it a little bit, right? So on one hand, we have this proclamation from the White House officially recognizing Black History Month for February, encouraging celebrations, you know, all that good stuff. But then the Defense Department
drops this news release almost at the same time. Called, and this is a real title, Identity Month's Dead at DOD.
It's like, it's pretty shocking.
What are they even talking about?
I mean, it's a pretty stark contrast, right? I mean, we have to remember that every president since Gerald Ford in 1976 has issued a proclamation for Black History Month.
Oh, wow.
It's been a pretty long-standing tradition, you know, of acknowledging and celebrating Black history and culture.
It's not just a change in policy. It's a statement, you know, what's going on here?
It definitely feels like a deliberate statement. And I mean, if you look at the details, the White House proclamation, it highlights figures like Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, even conservative voices like Thomas Sowell and Clarence Thomas. Oh, interesting.
Right. They emphasize their contributions to equality under the law. They even throw in Tiger Woods, praising him for pushing boundaries and excellence. All of it ties back to this idea of America entering a historic golden age under the Trump administration.
So it's very Trumpian in a lot of ways. Like, celebrating American achievements, highlighting figures who embody success, but then the Defense Department seems to completely contradict that.
So the Defense Department news release very explicitly forbids using official resources.
Oh, wow.
That includes work hours.
Really?
For cultural awareness months. Like Black History Month.
Oh, wow.
Women's History Month. National Disability Employment Awareness Month. All of it.
So it's a blanket?
It's essentially off limits now.
Wow. And what's their...
And their reasoning is that we are proud of our warriors and their history. But we will focus on the character of their service instead of their immutable characteristics.
Interesting. Character of service instead of immutable characteristics.
That's how they're framing it.
It's almost like they're implying that
it really raises questions.
Acknowledging someone's race or gender somehow detracts from
about their underlying assumption.
Their character. And we can't forget that this isn't happening in a vacuum.
Absolutely.
We need to look at President Trump's actions, broader actions, since he's been back in office.
So he's been targeting diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, DEI, across the board, calling for their removal.
Wow.
Labeling them as discrimination. He's pushing for a merit-based society and wants to end affirmative action in federal contracting.
So for people who might not be familiar with affirmative action, it refers to policies that aim to increase opportunities for historically disadvantaged groups. And it's been a point of contention for decades.
Absolutely. A very hot topic. For sure.
So,
and this move by the Defense Department seems to align perfectly with Trump's stance. It's like they're trying to erase any recognition of identity or difference and just focus solely on this idea of character.
So we have this blatant conflict, right? Celebrating Black History Month while simultaneously shutting down identity-based observances. So what does this tell us about where we are right now politically?
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, to answer that, we need to dig a little deeper into this character of service thing. Like, what does it actually mean? How might it be implemented? What are the potential pitfalls or unintended consequences?
Because character of service sounds pretty subjective. Like, how do you even define and evaluate his character?
Especially in a military context.
In a military, right.
Yeah.
What criteria are we using?
Right. That's where things get kind of tricky.
Yeah.
Character can be a pretty slippery concept, right?
Yeah.
Open to interpretation,
right.
potential biases.
Yeah.
If we're not careful, this shift could create more problems than it solves.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if the focus shifts away from, recognizing and celebrating the unique experiences and contributions of diverse groups, then that raises concerns about, potential biases creeping in, right?
Right.
If we're only evaluating character, how do we ensure that those evaluations aren't influenced by pre-existing prejudices?
It's almost like saying, we're all equal now, so let's just ignore the historical context, but that ignores the reality that certain groups have faced systemic disadvantages for generations.
It raises a fundamental question, right? Is this emphasis on character of service a genuine attempt at creating a truly meritocratic system where everyone has an equal shot?
Right.
Or is it a way to subtly undermine diversity and inclusion efforts?
It's like they're saying we don't need to acknowledge diversity anymore because we're all just judging people based on their character. But how do you
separate someone's character from their background, their experiences, their identity?
It's impossible to separate those things,
Yeah.
They're all intertwined.
So this shift is concerning.
Yeah, and that's why it's so concerning.
Yeah.
It has the potential to create a system where people from historically disadvantaged groups are judged more harshly or held to different standards.
So could this move actually end up hurting diversity and inclusion?
Certainly a possibility.
Even if that's not their intention?
I mean, if the emphasis is solely on character, without acknowledging the systemic factors that have historically disadvantaged certain groups, it could create an uneven playing field.
And it's not just about the military,
No, absolutely not.
This shift in focus could
it could have ripple effects.
Across different sectors of American society.
Right. If the federal government is downplaying the importance of diversity and inclusion, it could send a signal.
Yeah, for sure.
To businesses.
To educational institutions, other organizations. That, you know what? It's okay to do the same.
It's a domino effect.
Exactly.
And we're already seeing.
And we've already seen pushback against DEI initiatives in some states and industries.
This is just going to make it worse.
Right. Yeah. This could embolden those efforts.
Well, we can't forget about the potential.
Right. And let's not forget about the potential legal challenges to the DOD's policy, right?
Right.
I mean, there were existing precedents and legal frameworks that protect against discrimination based on race, gender, and other protected characteristics.
So groups like the ACLU or the NAACP could potentially...
They could step in and challenge this.
Yeah.
They could argue that the policy violates existing anti-discrimination laws.
Okay.
Or that it creates a hostile work environment for certain groups.
So this could be...
It could be a major legal battle.
Yeah. And then what happens after that?
Yeah. And the outcome of that could have significant implications for the future of diversity and inclusion efforts.
Right.
Not just in the military.
Right. But across
the country.
The country.
Yeah.
So it feels like we're at a...
It feels like a real turning point.
Yeah. This isn't just about...
It's not just about Black History Month or Identity Months.
It's about how we value...
It's a broader question of how we value diversity. And whether we're willing to acknowledge the historical context that has shaped our society.
So where do we go from here?
Right, exactly.
What are something?
I mean, the first step, I think, is to stay informed about the policy changes, the legal challenges, the broader debate surrounding diversity and inclusion.
So
follow organizations that are working on these issues.
Like the
ACLU.
ACLU,
The NAACP.
NAACP,
They provide a lot of valuable insights and resources.
And what about on like a...
Yeah, and don't underestimate the power of local action.
Okay.
You know, Go to town hall meetings. Write to your elected officials.
Oh, okay.
Engage in conversations with your community members.
It seems small, but...
It seems small, but it can collectively create a powerful force.
Yeah, for sure. For change.
So speak up if you see something wrong.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to speak up.
Yeah.
If you see something that feels wrong
yeah.
or unjust,
yeah.
say something. Whether it's at your workplace, in your community, or online. Your voice matters.
Yeah.
It really does.
Keep the conversation going.
Yeah, we need to keep the conversation going.
And that means
being willing to listen to different perspectives.
Yeah. Even those we disagree.
Disagree with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are the...
It's about finding common ground.
Right.
And working together to create a society where everyone feels valued and respected.
Yeah. So what are some of the potential...
So thinking long term.
Yeah.
About the consequences of this shift in focus.
Yeah.
Its character of service.
Right.
Without acknowledging the nuances of diversity and inclusion becomes the dominant narrative.
Right.
How might that shape future policies
Yeah.
and social attitudes?
That's a great question.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's hard to predict with certainty.
Yeah.
But it's worth thinking about the potential risks if we downplay the importance of diversity and inclusion.
Yeah.
It could lead to a less representative and less equitable society.
Right.
It could exacerbate existing inequalities and make it harder for people from marginalized groups to succeed.
So this isn't just theoretical. It's...
Right. This is real. This has real world implications
for sure
for people's lives.
So it's important.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to stay engaged, to keep asking questions and to hold our leaders accountable.
It's about recognizing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that our differences make us stronger.
Yeah, for sure.
Not weaker.
Yeah.
And that a society that values all its members is a society that benefits everyone.
So it feels like we're...
It's a real crossroads.
Like, do we embrace the future where we celebrate all of our different identities
and strive for
true equity?
Or do we revert back to
true equity? Or
revert back to a system that prioritizes conformity and
should we go back to
potentially perpetuates existing inequalities?
Yeah.
No, it's
a choice we have to make.
A choice we have to make.
Yeah.
Both individually and
as a society.
As a society.
It's not a passive choice, right?
No, it requires active engagement.
It requires us to...
And critical thinking and a willingness to challenge...
the status quo.
The status quo.
So let's talk action.
Yeah, let's talk about... what we lay these complexities, right?
Yeah.
What can
our listeners do?
Actually do.
To make a difference.
Make a difference.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed or powerless when you're dealing with these huge political shifts.
Yeah.
But remember, change often starts at the grassroots level.
At a very simple.
Right.
Individuals speaking up,
yes.
demanding accountability, pushing for a more just and equitable world.
Okay, so how do we...
So what does that look like?
Yeah.
In practice?
Practically speaking.
Well, I think first and foremost... Stay informed.
Stay informed, yeah. Follow the news.
Keep up with.
Read articles.
Yeah.
Listen to podcasts.
Listen to this podcast.
Like this one.
Yeah.
Educate yourself about the policies, the legal battles surrounding diversity and inclusion.
Well, that's more you know.
Yeah. The more you know, the better equipped you'll be to engage in meaningful conversations.
Yeah. It's like they say knowledge is
effective action.
Power.
Exactly. And once you have that knowledge, use your voice.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to use it.
Talk to your
friends and family
about these issues.
Yeah. Share your perspective.
Post on social media.
Yeah. Write to your elected officials.
Yeah.
Express your concerns.
And support organizations that are and support organizations
also in a good fight
that are fighting for equality and justice.
The ACLU.
Yeah, donate to the ACLU. The NAACP.
Volunteer for the NAACP, or even just spreading awareness
about their work. Yeah.
Every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps. And remember change.
Change doesn't happen overnight.
It's a long-term
process that requires sustained effort and commitment.
So it's not about making a one-time donation.
Right. It's not a one-time.
Posting a single...
You got to stay engaged.
Right. It's about...
Over time, hold our leaders accountable.
Yeah.
And holding people accountable and demanding progress.
And it's about recognizing...
It's about recognizing that this isn't...
just a
political issue.
It's a human issue. It's about creating a world.
It's about all of us.
Where everyone
has the opportunity
to thrive.
Regardless of their race, gender, religion,
yeah.
or any other aspect of their identity.
Perfect note to end on, I think, this whole deep dive.
That's a great place to...
It has been a whirlwind of information.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, but ultimately...
We really appreciate it.
It comes down to this. We all have a role to play.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We all have a role to play.
And shaping the future.
And shaping
the future we want to see.
So stay informed.
And
stay engaged.
Please inform.
And never stop fighting for
more just and equitable world.
And keep fighting the good fight.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.